How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Roller Coaster History Podcast. You are listening to Airtime Traveler. My name is Nathan Grace, and I'm joined by my wife and lovely co-host.
Hey, I'm Haley Grace.
And welcome to this episode of Coaster Conversations.
Conversations.
Haley's a little punchy already.
Okay, you have to understand. A little backstory of my day. First thing this morning. Well, let's even back up further. Last night, our 5-month-old baby decided to not sleep at all. And so, had to stay up with her pretty much the entirety of the night. 9 o'clock rolls around, and had to run to the store to get supplies because I was teaching our little boy's preschool group that he's in that consists of 8 children. So I had 8 children running around the house this morning, causing all kinds of craziness. And then just, the rest of the day's just been nuts since then. So it's just been a day. So yes, I might be a little bit punchy on them.
We hadn't even seen, we're recording this at like 10 o'clock, and we didn't even see each other till like an hour ago.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we saw each other this morning because I helped out around a little bit while you're doing your preschool thing.
Yeah, you took Harmony for a drive and then...
Yeah. So, I saw you a little bit at noon.
I think you gave me one kiss. Goodbye.
Yeah, I saw you for like 10 minutes at noon, and then I left to go to the office. And then I didn't see you again until 9 o'clock. Yeah. It's been that kind of day.
It's been that kind of week.
Well, everyone listening, welcome back.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. So
I'm excited
to
get started
again. I know. I was pulling out the microphone. I'm like, man, I'm a little rusty.
This feels good.
It's been a while since we were doing this. So
we got dust, man.
We had all this stuff planned to record during the, we finished season 2 with our Fire in the Hole finale, and we planned to. Haley almost just died in her chair. We good?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what happened.
And so we had planned to do our Coaster Bot review, and I still have a Lagoon trip report, even though that was back in July that I went to Lagoon.
No big deal.
I think, if you follow on social media, I've pretty much kept you up to date on why it's been so long since we recorded. We have a baby, okay? If you've never had a baby before, you probably don't really get it, but if you've had kids before, you get it. Like, it's a lot to take on, and
well, we're potty training on top of that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We have 2 kids now. One's a baby, one's, a 4-year-old. Yeah. And so, when we started the podcast, our 4-year-old was then 2. So, like, it's just we're figuring out how to podcast while we have 2 kids.
Figuring out life.
But that's fair. We're figuring out life with 2 kids and with, doing the baby thing all over again. And so it was kind of nice to just take a break for a couple months, kind of get the hang of things again. And I feel like we've gotten into a pretty good rhythm now that I feel like we're in a good spot to get back into get back into recording on a regular basis, which is good because season 3, if you don't follow us on social media, season 3 will officially start on April 4th. So that's just a little under 4 weeks away. So
I thought you almost said April 1st, and I was going to say April Fools, but
actually, it's just at 4 weeks away, I think. Yeah. Anyway, less than a month away. So very exciting. So we're going to have a few. We haven't decided if we're going to do 2 bonus episodes or 3 bonus episodes before the season starts. I've mentioned 2 of them that we have coming is our Coaster Bot 2023 review, which we did last year. So if you want to go back and listen to kind of what we'll do, it'll be a very similar format to how we did it last time. And then my Lagoon trip report, that's coming as well. Today's episode, though, something we've been saying we're going to do since September, which actually kind of makes sense to do it now. So I think this is something that we should do at the beginning of the year, just like we've done Coaster Bot at the beginning of the year. Today we're going to be going over, or kind of just reviewing the new coasters for 2024.
I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, so
there's so many. There
is quite a few. So, and it's an interesting year, and we'll talk about it as we go through it. Yeah, some of these Haley may or may not. For those of you that haven't listened to the podcast, I'm kind of more the coaster enthusiast, and Haley more represents the GP or the general public. So I am familiar with all of these, and obviously I've been keeping up on it. So Haley has probably heard of some of these that are coming, and some from me. And
he gets all excited, and he has to send me a text when he gets an announcement.
Well, not for all of them, but definitely the big
Most
ones.
of them.
Definitely the big ones for sure. So, well, let's dive in. So we're kind of going to do these from like smallest to biggest, if that makes sense. The first one, though, is kind of more of an honorable mention I want to throw in here, because it's not really a new coaster, but it's a big deal in the coaster industry. So one of the things that's happening in 2024, Busch Gardens Williamsburg is completely retracking their 1978 Aero Looper Loch Ness Monster. So, the coaster is, 46 years old this year? So it's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And it's an icon in the coaster enthusiast community and in the amusement industry. Been there forever, obviously.
Right.
And so there had been rumors that it was going to get taken out. People didn't really want that, but fortunately, Busch Gardens made the decision to completely retrack the ride, that's impressive, because
it's a lot of track.
It's a lot of money to do that, and you could build a brand new roller coaster for the amount of money it takes to retrack a steel coaster.
So my question is, do you think they listen to the enthusiasts then, or do you think that they just more...
I mean, that certainly plays a part in it. I think they also recognize that not just enthusiasts, but people that are locals that have been going to the park forever.
Yeah.
Like, this is, this coaster has been at the park. I mean, let's see, the park opened in 75. So, I mean, this coaster's been there all but 3 years that this park has existed.
That's so
it's
cool.
Synonymous with Busch Gardens Williamsburg at this point. So I just shout out to Busch Gardens Williamsburg being willing to invest into an old coaster. Obviously we're the roller coaster history podcast. That's all that that's our main thing we talk about, is we talk about the history of these coasters, and we always try to give props to the parks that are willing to invest in coasters and their preservation. And so this is a big win for people that fight for the coasters to be preserved. And so so it's a big deal. So
I'm excited for when the actual coaster museum opens. I think that'll be really interesting and cool to see what they put in there, and actually when it's going to open.
I don't know, they got some cool stuff already, so I don't know when they'll open, but someday they will. So, got some pictures here. You can see they're already hard at work. So, you can see the half of the loop here has been taken out, and you can see them working on the first drop right there.
I love the paint scheme on that.
Yeah. So, very cool. And then you can see they've even kind of refreshed the logo, and the legend lives on as the kind of the catchphrase for the project. So,
I love it.
Very good stuff. So I wanted to start with that one, because it's technically not a new coaster, but it's going to feel like a new coaster because it's brand new track, and very good stuff.
Cool.
All right, let's get into the coasters that are brand new. So starting with the little ones, right? So
Little
yeah, so this is it.
cute.
So this is Knott's Berry Farm is opening Snoopy's Tender Paw Twister. So it's a Zamperla family coaster, and it's part of the Camp Snoopy expansion that Knott's is working on in 2024. So it's not quite a kiddie coaster. This is really the only rendering that they have. So I think this is the station here, and you come out this way, and then there's one helix here, and then there's kind of this winding section. And I actually think it has a small little launch in the middle.
Aww.
And then it comes in.
Baby launch.
Yeah, a little launch coaster.
Baby launch.
So it's more substantial than just like your typical kiddie coaster. And this will basically fill in this. I don't know exactly the location of where the coaster's going, but I know they just tore out their kiddie coaster, which was, what was it called? Timberline Twister, I think is what it was called. And that coaster had been at the park for years. Like my parents may have rode Timberline Twister when they went to the park when they were kids. Like that's how long it's been there. So but they tore it out, and it was kind of sad because they didn't actually make an announcement. Like someone just noticed one day that it was gone, and it's just like, oh my gosh. So this will kind of fill that need at the park now. So I will also mention Knott's has already made an announcement for Montezuma's Revenge, which we've talked about so many times on the podcast, so I don't know how much you remember. But so Montezuma's Revenge is a...
Babe, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
So Montezuma's Revenge is a launch coaster at Knott's Berry Farm. It's just a shuttle launch, so it launches into a loop, into a spike, and then it goes backwards through the loop and then back into the station. Or I guess it goes up a spike and then back into the station.
Okay.
It was built back in the 70s. It's been at the park for a very long time, and there had been rumors it was going to get removed. And then I think I can't remember if I think it was early last year, so like a year ago, it was announced that they were going to be... So when I went to Knott's Berry Farm, 2 years ago,
right,
it was already closed for refurbishment, is what they had said.
Quote unquote.
So they said it was going to be opening in 2023. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then a lot of time went by, and beginning of 2023, they announced what the project was going to be and that they were putting new trains, retracking it, and all this stuff. And then they were going to open in 2024. Well, then fast forward over the past year, there was like no updates. We weren't hearing anything. It didn't like any work was taking place. To the point that like a month ago, people were looking at the Knott's Berry Farm map and it wasn't even on the map anymore. So people were like, they're going to tear it out. Like, what happened? Like, and there's no word from the park. And then like 2 weeks ago, the park finally made an announcement that the project was still on and that it was now going to open in 2025. So I don't know what happened. Like if they had a falling out with the original company that was going to do the refurb.
I mean, that's happened before.
Yeah, so contracts fell through. They didn't say what happened, but they did officially announce that 2025 it's going to happen, and construction already started.
Oh, that's
good.
Good.
Yes, that is very good. People were. Like I saw pictures last week that they're already taking some of the track out to start retracking it. So Knott's Berry Farm has now got this coaster for 2024. Montezuma's Revenge will reopen in 2025, and hopefully then Knott's Berry Farm can stop tearing out coasters and replacing them and maybe build something new someday.
Ooh, yeah.
So,
well, I'm just excited to actually go one day.
I know. We might think about when we try to do our Disneyland trip next spring, like a year from now, maybe try to hit up Knott's Berry Farm while we're there.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I've got a few credits there that I don't have yet, so just because of stuff that was closed and all that.
You should quickly tell everybody what our plan is for coasters this
I think I'll go over because it's not quite finalized yet. I'll go over that either one of our other bonus episodes or in this.
Which one is actually finalized? Because I'm excited for this.
We are going to Disney World in like a month and a half. Which, if you've listened to the podcast before, that should not be a surprise to you. We go to Disney World quite often.
Yeah, but I'm excited. Not often enough.
No, Haley would live there for sure. So.
I don't know about live there. I love it, but I wouldn't live there like during the holidays. Maybe I'll be a snowbird. But
Haley would live there half the year.
Yeah. Like an opposite snowbird. Is that what?
You just won't be there when it's busy.
Yes.
Except it's always busy now.
Is it? I hope it's not that busy when we go.
Relatively speaking.
Yes. I hope it's like not
yeah.
crazy.
All right. So there's that one. Another Snoopy themed roller coaster. This one coming to Kings Island.
Okay.
Pretty sure I talked to you about this one. This is a family boomerang coaster that's coming
We've talked about this.
Okay.
One.
So this is going in the Camp Snoopy section at Kings Island, which right now is kind of half Planet Snoopy and half Camp Snoopy, and I think they're trying to just do Camp Snoopy, or at least they're expanding the Camp Snoopy portion of it. I don't know exactly what their plan is for the whole kid section. I know Camp Snoopy is becoming a bigger presence because the coaster right next to this, so this new one's called Snoopy's Soapbox Racers, and the coaster right next to it, which is Flying Ace Aerial Chase, is getting a retheme. Now, we don't know what that is yet. They did post pictures last week that they are currently painting it. So it is getting rethemed, which you can so currently the coaster is yellow and orange. You can see it's green and brown in this rendering here. So don't know what that retheme is going to be, but it is going to fit more thematically with the Camp Snoopy section that's coming to this section of the park. So this will also be Kings Island's 15th roller coaster. So it's a little milestone for Kings Island. That's right there.
It's funny that they picked a kiddie coaster
for number 15.
Yeah.
Their last coaster was Orion, which is that's a big investment. So I think they kind of needed something a little smaller for the time being. So,
well, what should we put for our 15th anniversary?
Well, how do you? Yeah,
Snoopy.
Yeah. Because I mean, the next obvious, there's potentially two new areas that they could build their next coaster. One is there's a plot of land right next to the Beast where Vortex used to be. And people have said that they need to put like a multi-launch coaster there, kind of like a Copperhead Strike from Carowinds, kind of that style of ride. Because they don't really have a good launch coaster at Kings Island. I mean, they have, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, wow. Backlot Stunt Coaster. That was weird. So they have Backlot Stunt Coaster, but that's kind of more of a family launch coaster. I think people want something a little more thrilling than that. So,
like, what's that one called in Hershey that we like?
Oh, Storm Runner.
That's fun.
I don't know that Intamin's really. I mean, Intamin could still do something with LSM rather than hydraulic launch, but anyway. But then the other thing is they don't have an RMC at Kings Island, so they need something by RMC now. I don't think any of their three wooden coasters are up for a hybrid conversion, though. So if RMC is going to do something there, it's going to be a ground up RMC.
Which, I mean, they're doing.
Which they've done.
They're doing often now.
Yeah,
so.
they've done ground up stuff before, so it's not out of the question for sure. So there's Kings Island, kind of in the same realm of, this is another Vekoma family boomerang. This one's coming to Holiday World. I know we've talked about this one. Definitely talked about Good Gravy at Holiday World. Has the most hilarious coaster train ever. The Gravy Boat train is amazing. So with the cranberry sauce colored track. It's fantastic. I love it. This is I mean, these family boomerangs are not, breaking any records, and they're not going to be the best coaster in the park. But I love this addition for Holiday World just because it fills such a niche need that the park had. Because you had your two let's call it two big wooden coasters, one medium wooden coaster, and then a big steel coaster. And then you have a kiddie coaster. So there wasn't like a family coaster to kind of bridge the gap between the kiddie coaster and the Raven, which is kind of the medium wood coaster. So, and even the Raven you could classify as a big wood coaster. It just depends on your opinion. So there's not really anything in the middle there. And so Good Gravy is a good coaster for
Good Gravy,
bridging that gap. It's a Good Gravy edition. So
Good Gravy.
They just put trains on the track this week.
Oh, how fun.
Just saw that like 2 days ago.
You didn't tell me that.
Yep. So should be testing any day now. So it seems like it's on track for opening day, which is good.
When's opening day?
For Holiday World, probably in May, I would imagine. So it's, with how far north it is, usually.
I wonder if my cousins are going to go. If you guys haven't listened before, Evansville is where my cousins that I'm super close with live.
Yeah.
And they go quite often.
Haley has not been to Holiday World because she was pregnant when I did my trip to Holiday World.
Maybe we can go this summer.
Maybe. We're gonna be there. I just don't know how late they're open because we're gonna be there in October, so I don't know if the park will still be open by then, but if it is, we should definitely try to squeeze in a trip to Holiday World. So
yeah, that'd be fun.
This will be Holiday World's 6th roller coaster. So, and it's a custom layout, which is kind of fun because a lot of these family boomerangs are just clones of other ones that they've done. But Holiday World spent a little extra money to have a custom layout for theirs. So there you go. Okay, getting a little bigger. This one's Busch Gardens Tampa Bay is opening a B&M family inverted coaster. This one's called Phoenix Rising. So this one's interesting because...
We talked about this one too, Nathan.
I can't remember. This one's a pretty recent announcement, like probably within the last 2 or 3 months, where some of these other ones were announced last summer. So this one's interesting because... So these inverted coasters, B&M has all over the place. You and I have ridden a few of them. You don't particularly like them because of the over-the-head restraints, but we do love Banshee because of those vest restraints. Mwah! Banshee. Fantastic. Chef's kiss, Banshee. Mwah. I love Banshee. So this is like a family version of those coasters, which is interesting because there's other manufacturers have kind of done this. And to be fair, B&M has actually done this overseas. This is the first model of this type in the U.S., but like when we went to Dollywood, they have that green one called Dragon Flyer, which is... I didn't get to ride I know, but you at least went to the park, so you know which one I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But that one's done by Vekoma, so this one's different because B&M is doing this one. So, and also the seating is 2x2 instead of 4x4 like the regular inverted coasters. So, but this one was announced a few months ago, just started construction like 2 weeks ago, and so it's taking a little longer to construct. I think people assumed it would be ready by opening day, and I don't think it will be. Though Tampa's probably open year-round now that I think about it, so that's probably not actually an issue. But I don't think it's going as quickly as people thought. But it has technically started construction. So 44 miles per hour top speed, minimum height requirement of 42 inches. So not bad. Yeah. And that is Busch Garden Tampa's 10th roller coaster. So another milestone family coaster. That's it.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
All doing just, like family coasters.
We got more. There's a lot of... Family coasters is definitely the 2024 trend. There's a lot of family coasters this year. So... Which is fine. I mean, a good family coaster's not bad.
Against it. I just find it funny that for all these milestones, that's what these coasters are picking. So,
moving to another family coaster, same chain. This is Penguin Trek, which is coming to SeaWorld Orlando. So this is a prototype model from B&M.
That's adorable.
Yeah, you like that?
I do.
So from what I understand is... I'm not super familiar with SeaWorld Orlando. I've never been. But not yet. Not yet. I've never been. But from what I understand, I think the building... So this is going to start indoors and then move outdoors. And from what I understand, it's being housed in the part of the ride that's indoors is housed in the same building as the Penguin enclosure. And when you finish the ride, you will... hit the brakes and then you'll coast by the penguin enclosure. So you'll get to see the penguins while you're on the roller coaster. I love penguins. So this is a B&M family multi-launch coaster, so this is a brand new model. B&M's never done this model before. So this is kind of fun. Which is, B&M is... And SeaWorld Orlando has basically become B&M's testing ground for new, because last year they opened Pipeline, which was another prototype model. So SeaWorld Orlando's got tons of... I think is this their fourth This is their 5th B&M coaster. They have 5 of them now. So they love B&M over there at SeaWorld Orlando.
Ground, like, really a thing?
I mean,
or do they just say that? Like,
you just might develop a relationship with a park to the point that you might say to such park, hey, we have this idea. Do you want to try it out? And we'll give you a discount on the first model or something like that.
Okay.
You know, just kind of the same way that, I don't know, just if you develop a good business relationship with anybody, then you might be able to work out things that are mutually beneficial.
Right.
You know, B&M gets to test out this new model, and SeaWorld Orlando gets the claim to fame of, we have the first launched standing roller coaster. We have the first B&M family coaster. Like, you know, that's just kind of how it's mutually beneficial for both parties if they're willing to work together. So this one also minimum height of 42 inches, top speed of 43 miles per hour, SeaWorld Orlando's 8th roller coaster. And from what I've seen, construction on this one is basically done. I think they're just doing landscaping at this point. I don't think anyone's seen any test runs yet, so they're not testing at this point, but from the construction photos I've seen, it looks like the track is complete.
Interesting.
So should be done fairly soon. So this one, I like the trains on this. They look really nice.
Yeah.
Very, very clean. So they look nice. So you can't tell from this picture here, but it actually has little like skis on the side, like it's a little snowmobile type of thing. So
it's so cute. I love it.
Yeah. So let's move on to a wooden coaster, but we're still in the family category. I'm telling you, we're gonna be family category for a minute here. So this one is the Bobcat coming to Six Flags Great Escape. This is a family wooden coaster by the Gravity Group, which there's a few of these out there. I've been on one, Kentucky Flyer, which is at Kentucky Kingdom. I rode this past summer. They're pretty good. I think Kentucky Flyer was a little bumpy for my taste, but I can't say that that's a Gravity Group issue. That just may be I don't know, needs maintenance, so it could be a park issue. But anyway, I've heard good things about these. So 40 miles per hour, again, minimum height requirement is 42 inches. This one caught a lot of attention because this is the first new roller coaster at Six Flags Great Escape in 19 years.
Wow.
So it's been a hot minute since Great Escape got a new coaster. So it was pretty exciting for people up there. The only bad thing is their bobsled coaster was removed, and this is what's replacing it. So they're not getting an extra roller coaster. They're just they're replacing an old coaster. So that's kind of a bittersweet thing for people up there. But yeah, it's you'll take what you get, right? It's better to
don't look a gift horse in the
it's better to have a coaster get replaced than to just take out a coaster and have nothing replace it. So
sad.
So
such a waste.
I also got a picture of they showed the front car at the IAPA Expo a few months ago. This is a pretty cool front car that they have. Well, it's the Bobcat right on the front there.
Oh no, I see it.
Yeah, like coming out of a cave. Looks like a blob.
Well, just from the angle, the way I was
Oh, just from how you were looking at it.
It looks like a bobcat now, but for a minute it looked like a blob.
So, Blobcat. Moving on to...
I'm totally calling them from now on Blobcat.
So, next family coaster, which this one, obviously we have to talk about this one.
Yeah!
The brand new Fire in the Hole at Silver Dollar City, which apparently is pretty much open at this point.
Yeah, I've people getting on.
I know. I'm kind of not mad about it. I'm sad about it because the way they phrased the announcement was like, hey, we're going to open on March 30th. Like, that's our big grand opening. And so I was like, great, I'm going to plan to be there that day. Sounds like they're not having a media day, so we'll just go, along with all the other guests for the grand opening. And then they said that there was going to be like previews between now and then. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty typical. They'll usually open the ride early, let a few people test it just to make sure everything's ready for opening day.
Right.
But then, like, opening day Like, everybody that was at the park opening day rode it. It was, like, open all day. So I was like, oh, if I'd have known, I would have gone on opening day. But is what it is. So we're planning on being there March 30th for the grand opening ceremony. So we'll talk more about that later. But anyway, I've heard nothing but good things. I'm trying to stay away from a lot of the posts about it because I don't want any spoilers. But I'll just say I've heard good things. So if you're not familiar, this is a complete redo of the old Fire in the Hole that closed at the end of 2023. And this is a brand new $30 million completely indoor family coaster that's being built in a different section of the park that actually fits more thematically with the ride than where it used to be. So, I remember what I was going to say. I'm pretty sure the only... I haven't seen a cost for Cedar Point's new coaster, which we'll talk about later. Mm-hmm. This has got to be one of the most expensive coasters opening this year. $30 million is a huge price tag for a coaster.
I still don't understand where that cost is coming from.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what kind of special effects and animatronics they put in. I'm not expecting Disney level of, because Disney puts... I am. I'm not. Don't expect that because Disney puts 10 times more money into their attractions than this. But I am expecting like $30 million. That's a pretty good budget. So I'm excited to see what they've come up with. So
no, nothing can top Disney. Sorry.
Hey, don't Silver Dollar City. Don't listen to her. She's being rude.
Disney.
She's being rude. Don't listen to her. Shh. It's okay.
Moving on.
So this is an RMC family coaster, 26 miles per hour. Minimum height requirement of 39 inches, so lower than all the other ones we've been talking about earlier. And onboard audio, which I think is going to really enhance the experience compared to the old one. So very excited for this one.
Do you think they'll keep any of the experts from the old ride, the audio?
Some of the experts?
Like the...
excerpts.
Yes.
Like that is a good question. If they are keeping the original audio or if they re-recorded it, because I obviously know some things are the same. I know the old painting was brought in and is still in the new attraction. I knew some of the props were relocated from the old one to the new one. Which I love that they did that. Just even if it's little bits and pieces of the old ride can stay over at the new ride, like that keeps the nostalgia there for me and makes it easier to say goodbye to the old one, you know what I mean? So but as far as like the audio, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I obviously know the animatronics are all new, and the music, the soundtrack, I know they re-recorded, but I don't know about the dialogue. So
that's what I'm here for. Get that brain working.
I know. Good question.
Thanks.
All right. Finally, out of the family coaster category, let's talk about some big ones now.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with Georgia Surfer at Six Flags Over Georgia.
Name is just so unoriginal.
You know what's interesting about that? The name actually won a contest. Like they had people submit names.
Okay.
And then they took 3 names from all the submissions and put those out to a vote. And then whichever one won the vote. So this was what the enthusiasts and the Six Flags Over Georgia locals, that's the name they voted for.
That's interesting.
It's okay. It's not a bad name. It's just not a great name. It's fine. I mean, I don't know. They already have a coaster there called Georgia Scorcher. So it's kind of like, really there's Georgia Scorcher and Georgia Surfer. It's just...
Like, if I'm on the phone with you, I already mix up my words a lot. So, like, having it's
all right. So this is a first model in the U.S. This is a prototype model called an Intamin Ultra Surf. Now, it's very similar to Six Flags Over Texas opened a ride very similar to this last year called Aquaman Power Wave, which is essentially the same layout, but instead of, so you can see kind of in this picture, It's basically a giant surfboard with 2 cars that spin. And then, but the Aquaman Power Wave is just a big boat. But the layout's essentially the same, and it's a launch coaster, so it launches one way, launches back the other way up into the spike, launches back this way up into the spike, and then on the last drop, the water will actually fill in to this little trough right here, and the very last drop will be a big splashdown.
So it fills in while you're riding.
Mm-hmm. So the first few times you pass by, it'll be dry, and then it'll fill in so that the last time you hit it, it'll be a splash.
I didn't know that. That's
isn't that cool? Yeah. So
I like that feature.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. So
I wonder how many breakdowns it's gonna have though, because I feel like it's a pretty
complicated.
I'm done.
Yeah,
you just finished recording by yourself.
That is always a tricky thing with these prototype models, is just hoping that they work the way they should, especially with Intamin. So, but 60 miles per hour. That's pretty. The coaster doesn't look that big just looking at it here.
No,
so 60 miles per hour is like, oh, okay, that's pretty significant. So.
And keep it moving.
Yep, looks fun. All right, this one's an interesting one because it is not a new coaster. Like let's just talk about it. Okay, so this is
let that out.
Okay. This is All American Triple Loop, which is opening at Indiana Beach. Now, the coaster was originally built in 1984. It's a Schwarzkopf looping coaster, which you have been on at least one. This is a Super Duper Looper. Same company. The only difference is Super Duper Looper is more of a custom layout, where this one was meant to be portable and can actually travel, like if a fair wanted to buy this coaster. So this coaster, this is the 4th park that it's been at since, it opened originally in 1984.
Interesting.
So, but it last operated in 2019, and then Indiana Beach bought it and has been installing it and getting it ready ever since. So it was supposed to open, I think, 2 years ago. May have even been supposed to open in 2020, and then COVID put it on hold. I can't remember when it was originally supposed to open, but the park has come out and said, like, okay, yes, we're ready. 2024 is going to be the year that we open this thing. So, and you can see they freshly repainted it and repainted the trains, and I'm sure they've done some track work and some other things, so it should be running as good as ever. And so while these old Schwarzkopf loopers aren't like record breaking or anything like that, they're really intense. Like the loop, there's one of these at Lagoon that has 2 loops as opposed to this one having 3. And I actually really, really enjoyed the one at Lagoon. It was my second favorite coaster at the park. So it was a lot of fun. So I think this one could be fun too. So there you go. Okay, we got a couple of coasters here because this isn't just 2 new coasters, but this is an entirely new amusement park that's supposed to open this year. Don't get to talk about that very often, so we're hoping this actually happens. It's under construction, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So this is opening. These are 2 coasters that are opening at Mattel Adventure Park in Glendale, Arizona. I'm pretty sure it's Glendale. I know it's in the Phoenix area, but I'm like 90% sure it's Glendale that it's opening. So this is going to be an amusement park that's based on just Mattel properties. So it's going to be like Hot Wheels and Barbie. Those are like the 2 big ones. I know Mattel's got a few other things that'll be in there as well. The 2 roller coasters that are opening at the park are both themed to Hot Wheels. So another family coaster here, but this kind of makes more sense because the park needs like a thrill coaster and a family coaster.
Right.
So the family coaster is Bone Shaker, which is going to be a Chance Rides family coaster. So you can kind of see it here. Just helixes and small airtime hills. I think it's a launch coaster. I couldn't completely verify that, but I'm pretty sure it's a launch coaster. And then the bigger one is going to be Hot Wheels Twin Mill Racer. And these are both by Chance Rides, so almost certainly they bought these in a bundle to get a discount on these. This is a Chance Rides Hyper GTX, which that's the same model as Lightning Run, which is at Kentucky Kingdom, which is fantastic. But for some reason, there's not been a lot of parks that have purchased that model. So I'm excited to see how this one turns out. But this one will be 50 miles per hour and have 4 inversions, which Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom has 0 inversions. So kind of a different take on the model, at least. So Lightning Run focuses on the airtime, which this one seems it'll have more of a focus on the inversions. But looks very good, and you can see both of the coasters are already well underway as far as construction's concerned. So hoping this works out, and hoping the other thing with new theme parks and amusement parks, you just hope they get enough attendance to be sustainable.
Right.
You know, because like Lost Island has now been open for 2 years, and all the enthusiasts are saying how great the park is and that the theming is fantastic and the coasters are good. The dark ride is phenomenal, but there's like nobody there. And so they're just it's trying to get the word out, trying to market the park so that it doesn't go under. So anyway, that's always the concern with these new amusement parks, is we just don't want them to die out.
Yeah.
So, okay, just a few more left. Here are the big ones. I think we got 3 really big ones left now.
Looks interesting.
So this is Flash Vertical Velocity opening at Six Flags Great Adventure.
This has got to be a Six Flags one.
Definitely Six Flags. So
they're so original.
They have a coaster that has the exact same name as this at another park. So
so silly.
They don't have to pay the marketing people, I guess. They just draw a name out of a hat. And,
there you go.
do we ever have a ride at that park with this name?
No.
No? Okay, we're good. We talked about this model actually during this last season of Airtime Traveler, because
I remember something
we talked about when we did our Vekoma Boomerang episode, we talked about the Super Boomerang and how they had just opened the very first one in China earlier that year. And so now the US is getting their very first Super Boomerang. So 59 miles per hour and 4 inversions. Yeah. I think it has 2 inversions, but you do each inversion twice. So It comes out to 4. So
I don't know how I feel going backwards on this kind of ride.
this is intense. So because I think just if I remember the layout properly, I think you do 1 launch up, and then I think it's a swing launch. I can't remember for sure now if it's like if you launch forward, launch backwards, and then get 1 final launch that pushes you through the rest of the layout, and then you come up the spike and do it all again backwards. So Vekoma is doing some work. I mean, this is what, the 4th, 5th Vekoma we've talked about.
Do they have like their own construction teams, or do they like hire construction?
Pretty much all of them hire their construction teams. So I think sometimes it depends on where the project is at.
Yeah.
But they will hire construction teams.
Could you imagine Colin working on something like this?
Your brother? Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be really cool. My brother's currently on a construction team in Utah, and anyways, it'd be cool to see him do something like this one day. Like at Lagoon or something.
Yeah. So, but so we'll have to see how this goes. That's the other thing. You'll notice something about this list. There's a manufacturer that has only been on this list 1 time, which has been notorious for huge projects over the past 10 years. But no, Vekoma's got this is like the 6th Vekoma on the list. There's only 1 RMC on this list, and it's Fire in the Hole. It was just a little family coaster. So, well, what I'm saying is like RMC has been the best of the best, and last year 2 of the best coasters to open, the 2 best coasters to open were RMC coasters, but there's just like none in the works right now. It's kind of weird. So
it must be. They have to have something big coming out, man.
I sure hope so.
Weren't they like teasing stuff on their Instagram and
They're
Facebook?
always teasing stuff on there.
That's true.
Yeah,
they're teasers.
Twitter X
accounts.
Quit your
teasing, Rocky Mountain Coaster.
Rocky Mountain Construction.
Sorry. It's the same letter.
It is the same letter. All right. 2 more. Iron Menace at Dorney Park. This one has been on everyone's radar all year just because this is like, everyone loves Dorney Park, mostly because their social team is just like, they're fantastic. And so like a lot of enthusiasts in the community just really enjoy interacting with the park on social media, and they're very involved. And so I think everyone was just really excited to see Dorney Park finally get some love, because this is their first new coaster in 16 years.
Wow.
So it's been a long time since they've gotten something. And then, Cedar Fair is willing to invest in like a major thrill coaster for them. Is it a record breaker? No, not per se. I mean, it's, smaller than Valraven or some of the other dive coasters, but it's a significant investment to put any B&M coaster into an amusement park. So it's very exciting for the park, and they've been posting about it like crazy. So construction just finished probably a month or two ago. They finished at least the actual construction of the coaster. I think I saw that they installed the trains last week, so should be seeing test runs any day now. And
it's so fun when you see stuff testing.
Very exciting. So, and let's see, 64 miles per hour, a 95-degree first drop with 4 inversions, including a tilted loop, which is the first time there's been a tilted loop on a dive coaster. So everyone's kind of interested to see how that feels on a dive coaster. So
should be interesting.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, and this alone is like, okay, I gotta get out to Dorney Park one of these days. It's just so hard because I don't find myself in the Philadelphia area very often, and the one time I did, the park was closed. So, yeah, it's tough. Need to get out to Eastern Pennsylvania one of these days.
I mean,
there's a couple parks out.
DC area.
I know it's just tough because we already have another park that we're planning on doing while we're down that way. So it's tough. So there's a couple parks in Eastern Pennsylvania you need to go to. So.
Luckily, we're young. We got this.
We got time.
We got time.
All right, should we talk about the big one?
Yes, please.
Let's talk about the one that everybody's talking about. Obviously, we're going to talk about Top Thrill
not this one.
2.
Okay, listen, this one makes me nauseated even just looking at the picture.
That's how the GP feels about this.
Oh my gosh. Colin, so again, same brother, messages me and he goes, "Aren't you so excited? Are you going to ride this?" I'm like, no. No, I'm not. So Hugh and Colin can go ride this so together. Good. And I'm like, no.
So you have to understand that
That's like astronauts ride this to train.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Astronauts ride stuff crazier than this to train.
No, this is crazy enough for them.
All right. So you have to understand, we didn't go. The first time we went to Cedar Point was a year and a half ago, which was after the whole Top Thrill Dragster debacle had already happened and the ride had closed down. So neither of us have ever been on the original Top Thrill Dragster.
Depressing.
Which
I think I would have liked
which
the
is
original.
Sad. So is it just the spike then that freaks you out? It's not the top hat? Interesting. Okay.
No, I think, the spike, because you're just so tall and you kind of hang there for a minute. I don't know. That would freak me out, I think. Because I don't do, how I am. I do heights as long as it's continuously moving, but just staying there. I
mean, it doesn't stay there. It just goes up and then right back down. It doesn't hold you up there.
That's really high. That's really high. That might be where it just crosses the line.
Maybe. So.
Like I said, I usually try things one time and then not again kind of thing. So.
Yeah. So, if you're not familiar with what Top Thrill 2 is, so Top Thrill Dragster was the first 400-foot roller coaster ever constructed. A few years ago, there was an incident where a piece of the coaster fell off, or a piece of a train fell off and hit a woman that was standing in line. So, there was a big investigation. The ride had to shut down, and it was shut down for multiple years. Eventually, Park made the decision to shut it down permanently and convert it into Top Thrill 2, which is the top hat is the same. The 400-foot top hat is this. It's the original, but they brought in Zamperla to add a 400-foot spike on the backside of the coaster and turn it into a multi-launch swing coaster. So now, originally the ride would launch up to 120 miles per hour and then go up and over the top hat and then back into the final brakes.
120 miles? What the heck? I'm sorry. Let's just back up a second. What kind of crazy person gets on this ride?
There's like 90-minute waits for the top.
That's a crazy person.
There's so many people. Top Thrill Dragster is one of the longest lines in the park when it was open.
It's too fast.
It's too fast. I didn't know you didn't like the speed was a problem too.
I don't know. Like, I gray out on Intimidator, so I'm like.
Well, I don't think you gray out because of the speed on that one. That's just the G-force pushing you into your seat. So, because I mean, Millennium Force is 90 something miles per hour. So, anyway.
I gray out on that one too. Yeah. I just feel like I would enjoy it. Because I'd be terrified the entire time.
So, here's how the coaster will work now. So, it'll start with a launch up to 74 miles per hour forward. That'll take you, let's call it halfway up the top hat. And then you'll roll backwards into the launch section. It will launch you backwards up to 101 miles per hour, taking you up the 400-foot spike. And then you will go back down the 400-foot spike, back into the launch section where it'll increase your speed back up to 120 miles per hour. You'll get up and over the top hat and then into the final brakes.
Sounds awful.
Yep. So, sounds awful. So it is the fastest and tallest multi-launch coaster in the world. And, yeah, it's been a...
I mean, kudos to Cedar Point for breaking another record. However, I still think it's crazy. Too much.
Crazy. I won't... Too much... It's not too much. Crazy I will agree with. Now, the ride has definitely been a hot topic among enthusiasts. There was testing footage that was released last week.
Really?
And everyone's saying it's like, oh, it's so slow. Like,
they're just testing it.
Well, and the thing is, it got up and over the top hat, so it's clearly going fast enough to do that. Like, I don't know. I feel like enthusiasts just find whatever they want to complain about.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, guys.
They're just never happy with what they have.
True.
Especially at Cedar Point. I don't know what it is. Like,
what's the one Willy Wonka character where she keeps saying, I want more, and then the squirrels attack her? Veruca?
Veruca Salt? Is that her name?
Veruca Salt? I think so. Gonna turn into Veruca Salts.
There you go. Coaster enthusiasts can turn Veruca Salts if you're too greedy.
Don't be a greedy person.
Well, if you don't want it at Cedar Point, we'll take it at Silver Dollar City.
Yes, please.
So that way we can have it here and Haley still won't ride it.
Again, I said I would ride it one time because it might shock me. You know, I might be like, oh, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
When have I said that? I don't think I would like it. I think it was Intimidator. I think I said, I'm not going to like that. I think I'm going to hate it. And then I got on it and loved it. The one that opposite, where it's like, I'm going to love that. And it freaked me out was the Raven. Like at Cedar Point where you...
Not the Raven. The Val Raven.
That one where you're like...
Well, you didn't know what was happening.
I was going to kill you. Okay, so Nathan takes me on Val Raven. I didn't know it stops and lets it hang for a few seconds. And again, I don't like stopping at heights. And so, the
day that she gets stuck on a lift hill on a coaster might be the last time she rides a coaster ever.
One of my worst fears is to get stuck on a coaster. Like, I just think I would freak. Like, I don't think I can handle it. And so, like, I don't know. Like, I think...
Ferris wheels are scarier to her than Intimidator 305, yes. If that puts it in perspective.
I can't just stay still. I have to be in constant motion, if that makes sense. So, like, the fact that, like, Nathan didn't tell me that Valerie even stopped. And so
I thought you watched it. I didn't know you didn't know.
I was supposed to watch it. And so I'm like, I get on this coaster and we get to the top and it stops. I freak. I'm like, Nathan, it's broken. Are you kidding me? We're going to hang like this? And then boom, it falls. I'm like, I hate you! And I was like screaming at you the entire way on the ride. Yeah. Yeah.
There's been 2 times you screamed, I hate you, while we were on a roller coaster. It was that one, and the other was the first time we rode Outlaw Run in the dark. You remember that? When we went to the Moonlight Madness.
I loved it. And now I begged to ride that one every single time.
I don't know why you said you hated me on it.
I don't know, but I loved it. It was so fun.
Great. So
maybe I was just, I don't know, being a stinker or something.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Now, I will say this is just U.S. There's lots of stuff happening overseas that is very exciting as well. I mean, what's the... I wait a minute. I just have to call out one more coaster here because I think it looks incredible, and I am so sad that it's opening overseas because I want to ride it so bad. What were you going to say while I try to find this?
Well, I think it's just important for everybody to remember that, because we're a podcast on, like, a history roller coaster podcast, we'd like to do rides that, like, we've been on, that we've experienced for ourselves, so we can give our opinion. And until we have a lot more money and children that aren't very young, we probably will not travel out of the country. So
it's gonna be a minute, but someday I think we'll make it out to Europe to try some of these.
I hope so. I just want to visit Europe for Europe, but you're like, let's go to this coaster park and this coaster park.
I want to visit Europe, just see Europe too. I think if I was to go, I'd say let's do like a 2.5 or 3 week trip, and like half of it is amusement parks and half of it is seeing all the other stuff, like the actual sites and the different cities. So.
Is there any parks in Italy? That's where I really want to go.
Oh, there's parks all over Europe. The thing about Europe though is like we think of it as like all these, it's in a different country, but the countries over there are the same size as states over here.
Right.
So like going over to Italy from the UK is the same as like going to Tennessee from here. Like it's not that big of a deal. Right. You just have to, go through customs and stuff probably not customs, but you have to cross the borders and stuff like that. But it's not that big of a deal as long as you have all your proper identification and all that. So this is the one I just wanted to call out because this looks like it could easily be top 5 for me. So this is Hyperia, that's opening at Thorpe Park. Oh, these pictures are not great. Oh, I gotta find better pictures because Actually, I think there's a POV that I can pull up so you can see this thing in action. Yeah, here we go. Because this thing just looks nuts. So this is being built by Mach Rides, which is the same company that did Time Traveler.
Oh, and we love Time Traveler.
But it's a 200-foot hyper coaster. Here's the POV. Look at this first drop. So this is 200 feet. But it twists underneath the track and then goes back the other way.
I like that feature.
And then this just looks so much fun.
It's kind of like with
and then
look
this big outer bank turn that flips back underneath itself. There's just these elements that I've never seen before. This huge 0G stall that turns into a loop.
Hello, blackout.
Oh, just looks so fantastic.
It looks fun.
Oh, just all the it's kind of a right over the water. It's kind of a short ride because you can see it's ending now, so it's fairly short. But however, every element just looks so it just really pops.
A lot of fun elements. Yeah,
so it looks like so much fun. So, and then obviously I don't think it's opening this year, but right now Six Flags Qiddiya is building Falcon's Flight, which is going to be the longest, fastest, and tallest roller coaster ever built.
Wow.
I've sent you the pictures of that one. It's like 500. It's ridiculous, this thing. Usually we're a little bit more formal than this on our, just so you know, we'll actually have a script when we do our actual episodes. These bonus episodes were a little more informal. Look at this thing.
Oh, wow, that thing's huge. I don't think you have sent me pictures of this one, Nathan.
I know I sent it in the family group chat.
Okay,
so
well, that's different. Sometimes I check that, sometimes I don't. So.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. That's a little rude.
I'm sorry. Babe, again, if I check it, it's most likely when Parker's climbing on me or something.
Almost 14,000 feet long. This hill is 519 feet tall. Just this hill. But it's a launch coaster. So it starts back here and launches through this section on the bottom.
Does it
and then there's a launch that takes it all.
It has to have another launch.
It has another launch that takes you all the way up to this, and then there's this tiny little section where you twist, and then you go down this drop all the way back down the mountain and up and over this 500 and whatever foot hill, and then just through this speedy section back here, and then into the break. So. Yeah, so it's gonna break. So it's gonna break. It's gonna break. It's gonna break the length record, the height record, and the speed record all in one coaster. That's crazy. It's insane.
Crazy.
So, and of course, it's opening in Saudi Arabia. How in the world are we supposed to get to Saudi Arabia to ride this thing? I don't have the faintest idea. That sounds so much harder than, I don't know. It's probably not as hard as I think it is, but it just feels like so much harder to get to Saudi Arabia than to go to Europe, so. All right, well, I think that's all that we have for today's episode of Coaster Conversations. So thank you for tuning in. Obviously, we've got a few more bonus episodes coming up, and then Season 3 begins in just a few short weeks, so it's good to be back. Thanks for being patient with us as we figure out this new life of being parents of 2, and
it's a crazy life.
It is a crazy life, so we had to pause recording to go get our daughter because she was crying, and so now she's in here recording with us, so.
Say hi, Harmony.
That is that is the life that we are currently still figuring out, but we're getting there, and so we're excited to start recording again. So
yeah, absolutely.
Be sure to go and follow us on our social platforms. We are on X and on Instagram. What was it? I don't know. What did I say I was going to call you? X-Twitter. Because it has a double meaning. Our handle for both of those is just at Airtime Traveler. And you can keep up to date on any new episodes we're posting, and also any other conversations we might be having over on our socials. And
I keep pushing Nathan to do a Facebook. So listeners, if you are interested, should we do a Facebook page?
I mean, we technically have one.
You just don't post on it. But that's what I'm saying is maybe we should push more Facebook. Because I love Facebook. That's what I use pretty much all the time. But anyways, so if you guys are Facebook junkies like I am, or Instagram and Twitter, whatever, but let us know because we would love your opinion. So
all right, I think that's all we got for today, so we will see you in the next episode.